All right, so the fiscally responsible Republican Party has finally come to an agreement on their goals for the budget that they want to have for their fiscal responsibility. All right, so let's figure this out. So let's see, we already have about $1 trillion deficit, give or take. And what are the Republicans proposing? What is their goal? Well, their goal is, of course, $4.5 trillion worth of tax cuts that are mostly going to go to the wealthy members of their coalition. Okay, and wait, $2 trillion worth of spending cuts. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't sound fiscally responsible at all. What's going on? Look, here's the thing I want to express here. So long as our party system, and I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats here, I'm not just focusing on Republicans here. So long as our party system is driven by big money interests like Elon Musk, like Jeff Bezos, like Peter Thiel, like Bill Gates, like Warren Buffett, all of these guys, George Soros, all of these guys. So long as our party system is driven by moneyed interests, we are never going to get rid of the deficit, and let me explain why. In any given society, we have to figure out there are things that we want the government to do. Now, we can debate what those things are. Some people want the government to do more. Some people want it to do less. Some people want to spend money on policing, and some people want to spend money on social services. We can debate that stuff. But there are things that we want the government to do. And in a democratic society, typically, that will be done largely through taxation. And those taxes will largely fall on the people who can afford the taxes. The wealthier members of the society will pay disproportionately more into the system to do the things that we want the government to do. That's pretty simple. It's pretty basic stuff. This is not controversial stuff. Those taxes for the wealthy for everybody really, constitute a cost. And then the debate is, are we willing to pay the costs for the things we want the government to do? It's a simple debate, right? That's a democratic system, small d democratic system. We don't have one of those. We have a big O oligarchic system. And in a big O oligarchic system, instead of paying for the things that we want government to do through taxes, what we do is we keep the taxes on, especially taxes on the wealthy, very low. And then we run deficits. Now, how this works is we fund these deficits through bonds. We issue bonds. And what that means is that's debt. So you purchase a bond, and the government is agreeing to pay you interest on that bond, and then the par value of the bond back, the full value of the bond back. It's a way of making money. It's an investment, right? So here's how this works. So long as we're running that deficit and we're issuing bonds, who's buying the bonds? Maybe middle class people are buying some of them, but for the most part, the bonds are being purchased by major corporations, wealthy individuals, hedge funds, and things along those lines. The wealthy are purchasing the bonds. So in an oligarchic system, the wealthy are still paying for the stuff that we want government to do, but they're paying for it in the form of loans. It's not taxes. It's not a cost, right? They're paying for it in the form of loans, in the form of bonds, and they're receiving a yield or a coupon rate or an interest on those bonds. They're making money from the debt. They're making money from the deficit. It is not a cost for the wealthy. It is an investment for the wealthy. It is a source of income for the wealthy. And here's the beauty of it. The larger the debt, the riskier the debt, which means the wealthy can ask for more interest on those bonds, right? As the more risky the bonds are, the more of an incentive you have to give to purchase those bonds, and that is in the form of higher interest. So the wealthy actually benefit from fiscal irresponsibility, right? They benefit from that fiscal irresponsibility because they get a higher interest on the bonds that they purchase to fund the things we want the government to do. It's real simple. So long as these big money interests are pushing both of our political parties, they're pushing our entire party system, we are never going to see anything approaching fiscal responsibility. The math is simple.